objective.
It's Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Are you tired of all the noise and speculation in the news? On Hard Fact, we cut through the clutter and get straight to the truth.
If only Fubra has been aware of the boo-boo trap, he would have understood in democracy there are bases for everybody to do accordingly.
Join us as we bring you the stories that matter. We go beyond the headlines to uncover the real facts and the core of every story.
We are doing this, we are doing that. At the end of the day, nothing good will come out. What did they promise us? They will be in charge of security and life and whatever. But what are we getting in return?
With in-depth analysis and experts interviews, Hard Facts delivers the truth that others dare not to reveal. Tune into Hard Facts every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. and arm yourself with the knowledge you need to navigate today's complex world. Hard Facts, where the truth always prevails.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk. Credible journalism, bridging the gap between people and those in authority. With Hard Facts, you are sure to get only the facts.
Tune in to Hard Facts with Maryann Okon on 99.3 Nigeria.
.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome to the Big Hard Facts. Today, I have been telling you all day that we are going to be talking to the NCAA about something that every one of us can actually identify with. If you ask me, every single Nigerian can identify with what we're going to be talking about today. My guest has been here before on Hard Facts, and today, even though he's a bit under the weather, he still decided to show up and look good. That's service. I like it. I would like to introduce him properly, but first let me tell you what we're talking about. The NCAA has come up with something called short-landed baggage, and they have ordered airlines to pay first need compensation, or else they will face sanctions. I will give you a background as to what that means. But most importantly, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has issued a stern directive to both local and international airlines operating in Nigeria to comply with the first need compensation policy for cases involving short-landed baggage, and they have also warned defaulters that they will face sanction. Now, this is not one out of the many things that the NCAA is doing, and that's why I brought my good friend Michael Achimugu to speak to us on this particular issue. Michael Achimugu is the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're under the weather, but nobody will believe you.
Thank you. Good evening.
So for the average person or the average Nigerian traveler who does not understand what this is about, let's start by explaining what it is, and then let us understand why the NCAA decided that they were going to put out sanctions if airlines do not comply. Let's start with that.
Short-landed baggage simply means that a passenger has arrived at destination, and then the luggage of that passenger have not arrived with them on that same flight.
Mm-hmm.
When that happens, it could be a little bit frustrating, especially if the toiletries of that passenger and other necessities, immediate necessities, are in the baggage that have not arrived. And so there is not a new rule. It's always been there. There's been compliance to some extent, but we are deciding to go for 100% compliance with the regulations. And so the rule has always been, if for a domestic flight, you arrive at destination and your bags are short-landed, that is, do not arrive with you, the airline will pay 10,000 naira for what we call first need compensation.
Okay.
That's just to enable you to buy toilet soap and other toiletries. If it's an international flight, it's $170. However, with regards to the international, let me say this quickly. Different airlines have different policies and therefore different figures. But if they do not pay that money to you and the report has come to the NCAA, it automatically becomes $170 mandatorily.
For international flights?
Yeah, for international flights. If you arrive without your bags, $170.
Okay. Is that so for the international airlines, that amount, is it fixed or is it subject to change?
No, like I said, only if the passenger has reported to the NCAA because the airline has refused to pay the figures stated in their own conditions of carriage or policies. Because an airline, for some airlines, it may be $100, for some $120, and they have an obligation to pay you instantly, or take your account details and credit your account later. But where they fail to do so, and you have reported to the regulator, the fee is $170 mandatorily.
Lovely. Now that this directive has been put out, how will this be enforced in practice? Because I'm sure that if I open up the phone lines now, a lot of Nigerians are going to complain, and that's why I thought that this was a good conversation to have. How will it be enforced in practice? Will the NCAA deploy monitoring teams, or are they going to rely on those of us who will come directly to complain? Because you have said that first they're mandated to do it, but if they don't and we have reported, then of course the amount doubles. But how do you intend to enforce this? Because everyone's listening.
Well, before the NCAA can take up any passenger's case, by law, the passenger has to even file a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
We do not forum shop for cases. So if you do not report, there's no case for us to resolve. So when you feel your rights have not been granted you, we have consumer protection officers at the terminals in Nigeria, about 23 terminals or thereabout. And so your first duty is to file a complaint with the airline itself. Make a demand, make a request for what you feel is your right.
Mm-hmm.
Should the airline refuse, you can ask for the NCAA consumer protection officers who are always on ground within the terminal.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are in too much of a hurry and cannot handle that issue at that moment, you can always then file your complaint via cpd.ncaa.gov.ng.
Please, can you take that slowly? Can you take it slowly so that people who are taking it down can take it down? Take it all over again, please, Michael.
CPD meaning Consumer Protection Department.
Mm-hmm.
cpd.ncaa.gov.ng.
cpd.ncaa.gov.ng.
Yeah.
This is where all the complaints have to... Yeah.
I remember back in the day. Remember this interview of my Oga at the top. Yeah, it was almost going to happen.
You were careful not to do that.
Then I'll say that's all.
Okay, so you're saying that you're not going to go shopping, so people have to find you and lay these complaints.
Yes.
Let's ask, how many of such complaints have you had? Now, I don't know about local airlines that have these issues. I mean, except the flights are rerouted. For example, I've taken a flight from, I think, Borno, from Maiduguri. I rerouted somewhere before we got to Abuja. In cases like that, maybe luggages can, I don't know, but I've never had a situation where my luggage was lost in country, but mostly out of country. Air Maroc is one of the biggest, what's the word now? The defaulters. A luggage always has to miss on Air Maroc, so I stopped flying Air Maroc. And this is not to badmouth them, but experiences have spoken. In cases like that where you are not in Nigeria, but you flew from Nigeria, through Morocco to, let's say, you're going to England or someplace else or Brussels, where do you find the NCAA to report? Do you go online to lodge that complaint?
Yes, the link I just spelled out is where you send the complaint to. From anywhere in the world, we are able to protect your right from here.
And how long does it take? Because it's one thing for me to get to Brussels and I have nothing, not even my underwear. I just have my laptop bag and my iPad and, my passport. How long will it take for the NCAA to respond to my distress call?
Yeah, but first of all, let's remember, that the protocol is to report first to the airline.
Mm-hmm.
On arrival there, you must report to the airline, right?
As
The
it should be.
Chances are that the airline may ask you to go ahead to your hotel or residence, purchase those items and send in a receipt, which they will refund. And sometimes in those kind of cases, airlines are known to have even given more than the $170, provided that they are receipt for it, where they ask you to do so. Otherwise, they usually will just give you what the figures on their own policy. And then if they don't, you can report to the CAA. We know how to handle these issues. However, let me also state that this short-landed baggage is not for every situation where your bag does not arrive. There are caveats to it. For instance, you may have heard this kind of announcements at the airport where, the announcer says, mentions the name of a passenger and asks them to report to the check-in counter, right? The chances are that announcement is being made because aviation security has found something in your bag during check-in that needs further explanation.
Oh.
So if you hear your name, over the speakers like that, please, you do well to present yourself at the counter so that, your bag can be checked and cleared. Because if you ignore that announcement and aviation security, for safety reasons, refuse to allow your bag be boarded onto the aircraft, the airline would not owe you a dime. Also, sometimes because of weight restrictions, airlines are allowed to reduce the weight by not allowing some bags on that particular flight. In most cases, they are supposed to inform you. They will inform you. They should inform you, and you have to agree, to not having your bags be short-landed, to having your bag short-landed rather. In those kind of cases as well, the airline does not necessarily, especially if you sign an indemnity form before the flight.
So, you see, this is why we're having this conversation. There are people who would be jolly happy because you have said this and do not realize that there's a caveat such as the one that you just mentioned, that it doesn't cover every situation. And then this has to do with certain situations. So please, not because I want you to sound like a broken record, but I need you to repeat that again for the people at the back in case they did not hear you. Because I'm sure that there are people who would still say, but Michael said it on Nigeria Info. That's why I'm doing it. So let's re-emphasize that fact.
Yeah, passengers mostly are obsessed with their rights, but most times don't care about their responsibilities. If your name is announced at the terminal while you're already in the departure area, to present yourself at the check-in counter, most likely chances are that there's something in your bag that needs further examination or explanation. If you fail to attend to that call and your bags are not allowed to be boarded on that flight, the airline would not be responsible for your bag because airlines do not control the airport security. So if airport security feel like there's a safety risk or security risk, your bags will not be loaded onto the aircraft, and in that kind of situation, the airline would not owe you anything. Secondly, if there are for the sake of weight restrictions, an airline has been unable to load your bag and they inform you, you sign an indemnity form, the airline may choose to if they want to, but they do not owe. They would not be owing you. Their duty, therefore, will be to make sure that your bags are, arrive on the next available flight.
Well, Lagos, in case you're just joining us today on the Big Hard Facts, we're talking about short-landed baggage, the NCAA rules for travelers within and without Nigeria, as long as those airlines that you boarded emanated from Nigeria. Our guest is Michael Achimugu. He's the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection with the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. I always love to have Michael on the show because we learn a thing or two, especially for those of us who travel a lot. So I know that you're getting ready to ask Michael questions. Get your questions ready. We're live on Facebook.com/Nigeria Info FM. We're also live on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. Join the conversation on WhatsApp. For those of you who are listening to us from outside of the country, you can join the conversation on WhatsApp. It's 08095975805. On X, we're Nigeria Info FM Lagos. Use the hashtag hard facts. Michael, let me just ask a few more questions and then we'll let Lagos into the conversation. On enforcement and penalties, what sanctions will the defaulting airlines face if they fail to comply with any of these rules? In other words, they don't pay the $100 and something dollars. They don't, because we've seen cases where people were also abandoned at the airports and they complained. I've seen in the past. I don't know about recently. And how often has the NCAA actually enforced penalties like this in the past?
Depending on the severity of the infraction, fines could rise up to 5 million naira penalty for the airline. With regards to enforcement, the truth is that airlines have been complying with this even for the longest time. Like I said, we are just gunning for 100% compliance because there are still cases where passengers complain about this short-landed baggage. Our drive now is to educate passengers, because sometimes we are not, the NCAA is not a ghost. We are not spirits. We can't just sit in our offices and be aware that you're going through something like this. But if you are aware of your rights, most times when you demand those rights, quoting the regulations, the airline staff are likely to comply. Even so, you don't even have a need to report to the CAA.
Yeah.
And this is why our message over the last 1 year has been for passengers to make a little effort to know the regulations, that guide the industry that they patronize. Because passengers are the kings of the industry, but they have obligations as well.
Yeah.
Know the regulations.
I like
we
it.
are enforcing.
I like how you played into my next question, because I was going to say, what are you doing in terms of awareness for passengers? What are you doing in terms of awareness to make sure that passengers know that these are my rights and these are my responsibilities? Because you can't just claim rights and then when it comes to you being responsible, you're not. We've seen erring passengers. We've seen people who have become irritants at the airport and become really violent. Are you carrying out campaigns, awareness campaigns? I mean, this is one of which you are doing, but are you doing it on a large scale? Because there are a lot of people who fly every day but don't really know what their rights and responsibilities are. So what's the NCAA doing in that regard?
Yeah, with regards to responsibility, passengers also need to make some efforts to intentionally seek for information, because what are the means of communication here? The NCAA has been very vibrant in electronic and print media and on social media platforms since January 2024. So the information is easily out there, but people have to seek for this information. Sometimes it's just, a few punches on your keyboard away from you. However, that said, last year we recorded the highest volume of stakeholder engagement in the history of the CAA. We collaborated with some Nollywood stars, superstars like Hilda Dokubo, G-Girl, Maureen Solomon, across the country. Awareness campaigns. We had road walks. We had passenger education rather at the airport terminals. And last Friday, we also at the Abuja airport. If you check the NCAA official handle or my Twitter handle as well, you'll see videos and images from those outings. So they will continue to increase the volume of our engagement and education and awareness campaigns. But passengers will need. I give you an instance. When there are some countries where you cannot leave their airport terminal for accommodation that is your due, if you do not have consular visas to those countries. So it means that even though you are entitled to accommodation and the airline is willing to grant you that accommodation, you cannot get into the city because you do not have a visa.
Yeah.
Now, some of the airlines from those countries, it is clearly written on their websites before you purchase your ticket. Still, passengers somehow miss that information and then get to that place, get stranded, and start making videos as though nobody cares about it. But the information was
Yeah,
actually right there.
yeah.
So we must also live up to our responsibilities as passengers.
Lovely. Michael is still with me. We're going to go on a quick break, Lagos. When we come back, the phone lines will be open. WhatsApp for those who are calling from the diaspora. And of course, you can send me WhatsApp messages if you are in Nigeria with your questions and your comments. We're still talking about your rights and responsibility as a traveler, according to the rule book of the NCAA. Stay with us. We'll be right back. This is 99.3 Nigeria Info.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
See, everybody with him own wahala. Every day comes with its own version of challenges, and you have to be ready to face them, because only then can you move on to the next. That's why I never miss my breakfast. Scratch that. My peak breakfast, with the nutrients and energy I need to face each day, one challenge at a time.
Every day is a good day to power on with a peak breakfast. Have you had your
Peak. Reach for your peak.
water shield cement now confirm.
Oh, welcome, sir. Sir, we are set to begin the foundation.
Everything set?
Everything, sir. We have the estimates for the granite, the sand, the iron rods, the concrete blocks, the cement, the...
Wait, engineer. What cement are you planning to use?
Oh, the normal cement, sir.
The normal cement?
Yes, sir.
You know the area is waterlogged and you say normal cement? Have you not heard of Water Shield? The new waterproof cement by Lafarge, designed to protect buildings from water damage and water damage to your property. If you're building in a waterlogged area, then your best bet is the new Water Shield cement by Lafarge. Water Shield is the waterproof, high-strength cement expertly formulated for all interior and external use in waterlogged areas. And water damage to your property.
When my children return from school, I don't recognize them. Hello, do I know you?
It's us, mommy.
But these dirty, sweaty uniforms and socks were clean in the morning. Everything don't transform. I understand though, school is hectic. It takes energy to come home this transformed. So I make sure they have some nutritious Milo at breakfast.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
Hi, this is Nene from the boat safety team. You can't see us, but we're right here with you on every boat ride. To your left is the ride insurance team. We insure your ride as soon as your trip starts. To your right is the record audio team. We keep a recording of your trip for 24 hours in case you need it later. And behind you is the customer support team, ready to chat 24/7. We're the boat safety team, by your side on every ride.
This is Nigeria, where every new day brings a fresh chance to dream bigger, push harder, and live confidently. But true confidence is more than hope. It's knowing that no matter where you are, no matter who you are, you're protected, empowered, and ready for the journey ahead. At Sanlam Alliance, we believe confidence isn't just for a few, it's the right of everyone. That's why we have come together, uniting the strength of a Pan-African giant and a global leader to give you the financial protection and solutions you need to succeed. Because when we come together, we protect more, we achieve more, and we all rise together. Sanlam and Alliance is now Sanlam Alliance. Sanlam Alliance. Live with confidence.
What you're about to taste is so hot, it's got basket mouth singing.
Mini Niger pepper flavor. Yeah. Mini Niger pepper flavor. Chris. Heat.
Nothing brings the heat like the bold taste of Mini Me Noodles Niger Pepper Flavor. Try it today and see for yourself. Mini Me Noodles Niger Pepper Flavor. Slurp it like it's hot.
Start your day and have a good time.
Kivo Creamer.
Oh, where you need to have the break time.
Kivo Creamer.
If not tea, Papa Garita.
Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer.
In the kitchen game, there are players and then Agba Ballers, MVP, Player of the Year, 10-0, no rival. Become an Agba Baller with a new improved Maggi chicken flavor made with a flavorful formation of onions, celery, turmeric to bring out your top game in the kitchen. Elevate the taste of your everyday dishes with delicious rich chicken flavor. Oh yeah, let's go.
New Maggi chicken flavor, my game changer.
Madam, abeg bring one cold can of Malta Guinness.
Abeg make am two. Quick, before driver move.
Oya take, one na 600 naira, so na 1,200 for the two.
Yes, so Malta Guinness is now 600 naira. Now you get the same refreshing, nourishing, rich premium Malta Guinness for just 600 naira. Available at stores near you. Malta Guinness, here for every kind of you.
Little body, big moves. Little brain, big learning. Your little child is eager to do big things. Every sachet of Cerelac Junior comes with the nutrition they need, natural grains, protein, and iron to support their physical growth, learning, and development. So you can fully enjoy your little one's big moments of growth.
All right, class, settle down. Today, let's talk about how you started your day.
We got dressed and had pancakes with John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate for breakfast.
My mom makes John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate for us too.
My mom calls it instant goodness. My sister and I always put it inside our pap. It's so yummy.
John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate is a chocolate drink made of rich cocoa, milk, and sugar. Available nationwide in stores. John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate. Enjoy instant goodness.
I don't know, man. These days, all you hear is save, invest, save, invest. Wait, how do you guys find this money? Is it not someone that is settled that will have money to save and invest? And even if I manage to invest or save, the interest rates are so low. And one can lose money in all these crypto, NFT, blockchain, and so on.
Introducing Fund 724. It's a simple solution to all your money goals. With as low as 1,000 naira or that urgent 2K in your pocket, you can start saving with Fund 724 and earn solid returns on your investment. And you can withdraw your money from your account for free. Anytime you like, just dial *724# on your mobile phone and follow the prompts.
Oh, so no need to download an app or join a long queue.
Dial *724# now to get started. Fund 724 is available 24/7. Guarantee Trust Fund Managers is a subsidiary of Guarantee Trust Holding Company PLC and regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
This is Hard Facts.
Yes, it is, and you're watching us live on Facebook and on YouTube, Nigeria Info FM. We're live from our audiovisual studios right here in Itimian Crescent, Victoria Island, Lagos. My name is Maryann Okon. This is Hard Facts, and we're talking about your rights as a traveler, also your responsibility as a traveler, according to the rule book of the NCAA. And my guest is joining us from the FCT. He is obviously of the NCAA, and he's been telling us a lot of things that many of us who are travelers had no idea was the case. Michael Achimugu is the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA. Michael, before we went on that break, you were talking about the fact that there are countries, and I think it falls under some of the Schengen areas, where if you do not hold a pass or a visa into that country and you're just passing through the country to another country, and you have a case such as this, you can't lay claim. You can't even go into a hotel in the city because you do not hold a visa. And it's clearly stated on the airline's website, but many people fail to see that information. And then they go on to those places, have those kinds of experiences, record it, post it on social media, and call people like you out and the airlines. Meanwhile, they were the ones who missed that information. So you're telling us that it's very important for us to read all of the information on every airline's website?
Well, at least know the NCAA regulations, and of course, every good thing requires some effort. So there's nothing wrong with reading the airline's policy, before you travel. It's your life, it's your security, it's your property, at stake here. You have some degree of responsibility, but then again, that is why the NCAA is here to protect those rights, even if you do not know the rights.
All right. Well, Michael is here to answer all your questions. I'm opening up the phone lines. I can see you. I even saw the WhatsApp callers. If you're listening from outside of the country in the diaspora, you can call us on WhatsApp. Only those who are listening from the diaspora. 080-959-7574-085. I'll take it again. 080-959-75805. I beg your pardon. And for the ladies, 0201 465-7190. For the gentlemen, 080-0201 277-0993. Every question can be directed at my guests. Go ahead and ask them. And on WhatsApp, you can also send your messages to ask questions. All right, keep the questions coming. I'd like to hear from you. 0201 277-0993. 0201 465-7190. On Facebook, we're live. On YouTube, we're also live. You can post your comments on our live stream. I can answer those questions. Keep them coming. Do you know what you need to do when you are traveling? My guest is here to help you out with that. But quickly, Michael, let me just ask you one more question that I hoped to ask you before we went on that break, about travels. Many people have said that Nigeria airlines, when they come to Nigeria, seem to not necessarily comply with anything. They say that, Nigeria is, for the want of a better way to describe it, anything goes, so there's always that tendency of people flouting certain rules, that they treat the Nigerian route with less seriousness. Let me say that way. Does the NCAA have like some sort of data comparing how baggage issues are treated internationally versus when it has to do with Nigeria?
I don't agree with this perspective, because there's nothing that's happening wrong here that is not happening elsewhere globally. That is the reason why the laws were made in the first place globally. For instance, with regards to baggage issues, the Montreal Convention, stands. Nigeria has domesticated, that convention, and so we play by the rules of that convention. It's the same thing world over because the experiences of passengers are the same. Some of the aircraft that come to Nigeria, people complain about. The airlines also use those same aircraft to service their other routes as well, outside of Nigeria. So it's the same thing. I remember last year we were on training in Miami, and one of the resource persons was the former DG of Argentina's CAA, Paula Tamburelli, and she said something. When she heard that airlines pay refunds to passengers in Nigeria, she was genuinely shocked. She said in Argentina, no airline will pay you anything, no matter the
really
for that penalty. Yes. It was an eye-opener for me. It led us to research and we realized that there's a few countries where they don't have it as good as Nigeria. May I also state that Nigeria has the best consumer protection regulations in all of Africa. We've received commendations from other African countries. We have even we've been invited to offer technical support to other African countries with regards to the regulations. It's just that, flight disruptions will continue to happen no matter what. There's no perfect industry anywhere. Bags get totally missing, lost, in the US, Canada, UK, wherever. These things happen everywhere. Because this is our own turf, our passengers are mostly only following events that happen here, so they do not know what happens elsewhere. So because of that, one of the most abused phrases has become insaner climbs. But these things happen everywhere. I've been delayed on flight abroad myself, and nobody even offered apologies, right? And I didn't hear, passengers complain on those flights either. But that said, we are not, the standard for us is not the worst of other countries. The standard for us is to be the best among countries. And that is why we are constantly working to ensure compliance with the regulations. You bear in mind that the regulations, Part 19, was reviewed in 2023 to make it even stronger. And between then and now, certain issues that are not covered by the regulations have come up that we have noted for further review of the regulations in due course to continue to make it stronger. But compliance here is on point, unless you do not file a complaint. Making a viral video on social media is not what empowers us to take up a case. We could see the video, but nobody's going to take it up if you do not file an official complaint. That is the law. And people should not feel too lazy to file that complaint. Sometimes our CPOs at the airport, they say that when passengers come to them and they say, okay, this is a form, fill out your complaint here. They refuse to. They don't want their names there. They don't want their data there. But how then do you want the cases to be resolved? These things are not done by sentiment or emotions. They are laws. Yeah. And these regulations, they are global, right? They are global. For instance, anywhere in the world, for any country that is signatory to the Montreal Convention, which Nigeria is, signed to, if your bag is short-landed, the airline, apart from paying you first need compensation, has up to 21 days to search for your bag and reconcile you with your bag, right? For domestic flights, the airline has up to 7 days. But sometimes passengers file a complaint today and expect that they must find their bags by tomorrow. That's not the way it works anywhere in the world. So
I have a question that somebody also raised here about baggage destruction, for example. I had never had that experience until I was flying, I think, from Detroit to another city, and one of my boxes was destroyed as a result of handling. And someone on the trip said, oh, you could just walk into one of these offices and make a complaint and they'll give you a brand new box or they'll give you money. Does that happen here in Nigeria? Does the NCAA, can that complaint be also brought up to the NCAA? Because this might not necessarily be about what we're talking about, but then it still has baggage in it.
Yeah, the example you just quoted, they didn't ask you to walk to the CAA of that country first. They asked you to walk into the office of the airline.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is the protocol. You must first complain to the airline. The CAA only comes in where the airline has failed to meet its obligation to the passenger. And so, but here we have even sometimes gone out of our way to accept complaints where the passenger did not even, file a complaint with the airline. If you need a refund, for instance, you do not complain to the airline. How would they pay you a refund? They do not know that you needed a refund. Because it could be that you needed a rerouting or a rescheduling of that ticket. So if you do not file a complaint with the airline, they do not know that you specifically want a refund. And then you have come to the CAA. You cannot come to us then and say, therefore, that the airline refused to pay because you did not make that request. But sometimes because of passenger education, I keep saying voter education, now it's not even time for elections. Because passenger education is, is a continuum. It's an ongoing process. We do the best we can to accept these complaints, and have the airlines resolve them. Compliance here has always been. Yeah, the facts are there on social media. They're in all other, even in traditional media. Many known and unknown people have come forward to testify, to the efficiency of the CAA with resolving these cases. Like I said again, compliance has been high. We are recording, record figures. But we are not satisfied with just a little.
Yeah.
We want to go all out to ensure that at the end of the day, the Nigerian consumer protection of CAA is regarded as the very best, among other nations.
Lovely. I want to talk about something that everyone else is also interested in: flight cancellations. the incessant flight cancellations. I remember when my mother passed, I was supposed to fly home immediately. You know, after she had passed, I had come back to Lagos and I needed to go back home for the plans for the funeral. And my flight was cancelled. No prior information, absolutely nothing. The flight was just cancelled. And I remember so many people at the airport just stranded, looking at the airline, and the airline was telling people to either they will go to another city by road and then take a flight from there to. It was the most ridiculous thing that I heard. In cases like that, what do you do? Because there's no and for some people, they probably don't live in that city. That was their last day. They needed to go back home, or maybe they went for trainings. Their hotel room money has expired. Do they come to the NCAA? Because at that point, the airline was saying, well, there's nothing we can do. You come back tomorrow. The flights will be rescheduled tomorrow. Blah blah blah. How do you deal with such? And this is not the first. I'm sure you had so many, but this is just one example. How do you deal with the issue of flight cancellations?
Where it is force majeure, the airline is not culpable. I'll give you an instance that happened here in Abuja on the 23rd, just a few days ago. A particular airline was already boarding passengers, and then they found out that there was going to be weather issues ahead, right? That needed them to reduce the weight on the aircraft for takeoff. Secondly, a hole was discovered on the runway. And it was a big aircraft, meant that they needed a longer stretch of the runway in order to take off smoothly, right? So they could not take off. Now, they dropped some passengers. Those passengers became very unruly and violent and physical. But let me ask you, is it the duty of the airline to fix that runway?
Of course not, but could they have explained to the passengers? At least they probably would not be
That's the
unruly.
point. A lot of times they do, but passengers really just want to get from point A to point B. But anything could happen at any time in aviation. It's like every other means of transportation. But if unscheduled technical issues come up, for instance, but see, if you are told that there's bad weather ahead, why would you even insist on flying, no matter how important what you want to go and do is?
I don't think that any, right-thinking person would want to fly if they're told that there's a bad weather. But do these airlines tell people? Because, for example, you get no email, you get nothing, nobody's explained anything. And they tell you, I'm sorry, the flight has been cancelled.
The email issue, Mary, the email issue, sometimes, I'm not saying all of the time, sometimes it happens more with passengers who book their tickets through a third party, their travel agents. In fact, today we had a meeting with one of the international airlines, and they have been complaining about this situation. So the travel agent fills in his own email and other contact details instead of that of the passenger, right? So the message may get to the agent, but he did not sit on time to inform the passenger. And the passenger is not aware that the flight has been cancelled, and they make their way to the airport. In such a scenario, it's not the fault of the airline. But in carrying out our duty, if we do not see evidence that the airline did indeed send out those emails or text messages at the right time, then the airline is made to pay compensation. Most often, the compensation will be a refund and a compensation of not less than 25% rebate on your next ticket. For some airlines, that rebate is redeemable by cash. Sometimes some airlines are known to have given even more than 25%. We have put some of these records out there and will continue to do so. All
right.
But flight disruptions will continue to happen. Yeah.
All right, Lagos, I have very little time. I want to take a few calls. 0201-277-0993. That's 0201-277-0993. Just the general line. For the ladies, 0201-465-7190. That's the number for you to call. You can join the conversation on WhatsApp. It's 0809597585. If you're listening to us from outside of the country, you want to be part of the conversation, you could join us via WhatsApp. Only those who are listening from outside of the country can call us via WhatsApp. Someone here says, my question is, are there compensations for delayed or cancelled local flights. I guess we just talked about that. Now you didn't give us your name, but
Yeah, we just addressed that.
Fleetcraft, thank you for your message. He's saying that there is no compensation. Is there compensation, Michael?
Yes, I just answered that question.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Let me take some more messages. Please, you can go ahead and call us 0201-277-0993. Everybody's asking, all the questions are about flight cancellations. Someone here is saying hello to you. His name is Joshua Moses. He says, my brother Mike Achimugu, nice to hear from you after a long time. So you have fans in the studio. Let's take some calls. Welcome to Hard Facts. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, hello. Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, go ahead.
Hello.
Jeffrey, we can hear you. Go ahead. I'm so sorry, Jeffrey. You have to call us back. Our WhatsApp caller, please call us back also. Okay. I think we have Irabuchi here calling us on WhatsApp.
Maryann.
Irabuchi. Irabuchi, how many things are you listening to?
Fear that things are not moving quickly enough.
All right, do call us back when you're ready to talk, because you're listening to us and you're listening to television and it's difficult for us to hear you. Try calling us back. We will take that call. All right, try calling us back. I'm trying to pick that call. It's just I'm not able to pick it. So our WhatsApp callers from the diaspora, just try calling me back. I will be able to take that call. I'm sorry. I don't know why. Every time you call me, I just... someone says, what do I do for aero contractors to refund my ticket money? I've been on it since January. Uma, you haven't explained to us anything about the ticket. You're just asking what you need to do for them to refund your ticket money. What happened? Michael, I don't know how we can treat this issue. He's just saying aero contractors...
He reported to the CAA because, when it comes to the issue of refunds, there's a time frame from the regulatory perspective. The airline has 14 days to refund you if your ticket was not purchased by cash. Mm-hmm. If it was by cash, the airline has a duty to give you that refund immediately before you leave the terminal in cash. But if you didn't purchase by cash, there's a processing period of 2 weeks, 14 days. So
he's saying it's since January.
He reported. Yeah, so since since January, if he did file for that refund with the airline and they've not, done their duty, then he can report to the NCAA via the link I shared earlier.
All right. Before you go, we'll ask you to kindly share that link again. But I want to take one more message. Please call back, Irabuchi. Every time you call, we're unable to take your call. All right. Let's try it again. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, Maryann.
Quickly, you have 60 seconds. Yes, go ahead.
Thank God it's online. Please, I have a serious concern. We booked a flight 2 years ago, exactly 2 years ago with Qatar Airways. We've made series of frantic efforts to get a refund for 2 good years. My brother has been going there almost 2 times a month, but they have continued to dribble us. What do we do at this point in time?
Did you report to the airline?
Yes, I said we've written series. So I say it's happened for 24 good months.
What about the NCAA? Did you report to the NCAA?
No, that's what I'm saying. What is the next? I told him if he goes tomorrow and nothing happens, we are going to employ a lawyer. Because there is a gross, after the money, how much we've spent already to start going to where the office is in Lagos. So it takes a lot of, so what do we do? Okay. Because I want to employ a lawyer after tomorrow. My brother is going to their office tomorrow.
All right. Because we do not have time, Michael, did you hear his question?
No, I didn't hear a thing.
So he said that they bought a ticket from aero contractors. It's been months. They've been going to aero contractors, written letters, emails, nothing. They even had to pay transport to their office here in Lagos, but they've not gotten any response from them. So he's saying after tomorrow, when they go there and they don't get any response, they want to employ a lawyer. But I'm asking, he's never reported to the NCAA. So what does he do? We have 60 seconds. Our time is gone.
He can file a complaint to the NCAA. Aero contractors have been one of the more responsive airlines to issues of refund. So I'm sure there's some.
Not Aero,
something wrong
Qatar
somewhere.
Airlines. Qatar Airlines.
Oh, Qatar.
Yes.
Qatar.
Qatar Airways,
He should
yes.
file a complaint to the CAA, but he also does have a right to seek legal redress if he wants. It's part of the law. He's right.
All right. Well, Irabuchi, I hope that you got that. He was calling us from England with that complaint. Lagos, we want to say thank you to our guests for coming on the show. These kinds of conversations we need to have every now and again because it's important for us to know our rights and our responsibility. Michael Achimugu is the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection for the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA. Michael, thank you so much. The calls are still coming in. Unfortunately, we can't take them. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Michael. We appreciate it, and get well soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Lagos, that's the show. I will see you tomorrow on Hard Facts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, MIMIEYO. Better to follow Nigeria Info on all of his social media platforms. Tomorrow is another day. Goodbye.
What you're about to taste is so hot, it's got basket mouth singing.
Mini Ninja Pepe flavor. Yeah. Mini Ninja Pepe flavor. Chris. Heat.
Mini Pepe Ninja flavor.
Nothing brings the heat like the bold taste of Mini Noodles Niger Pepper flavor. Try it today and see for yourself. Mini Noodles Niger Pepper.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3